What in the world is happening? Gaban has been demonized by Imu and exclaims, "Luffy, bring those Yonko meats over here so I can have them with some booze." Welcome back to the Otaku Wave Hub channel. Gaban has currently been knocked down to the underworld by Gunko. This situation is somewhat fortunate for the pirate legend, Roger's right-hand man, Gaban, because if Imu had possessed Gunko first before attacking Gaban, this old man would probably be dead already. Gunko stabbed him with 3 arrows through his body, causing Gaban to suffer extremely severe injuries. He will most likely be out of this battle for a long time. However, author Oda has shown Imu's extremely powerful healing ability for Gaban, which is the Devil Fruit contract. In this situation, Brogy was also attacked by a gun, causing his arm to be completely severed from his body. But with the Devil Fruit contract, his arm returned to its original position, although it's a bit disgusting that the severed part is no longer connected. The flesh is mushy like a wall, and there's an invisible joint connecting it. It won't be easy for Gaban to stay in this fight until the end of the arc. Gaban's strength and role are still valuable for the rest of One Piece. Let's analyze in this video the possibility of Gaban being demonized by Imu and how terrifying this power is. Now, I'm sure everyone has their cup of coffee ready, right? Let's go see if Gaban will be demonized or not. Many of you believe that the giant's demonization ability is similar to Luffy's Sulong transformation when he sees the full moon. I believe my transformation is somewhat similar. Let's dive a little deeper. Sulong is their natural ability, not dependent on any external influence, like an innate wild quality that requires no training. Just seeing the full moon is enough. But with Chopper's medicine, Luffy can transform into Sulong without the moonlight. This shows a new step forward in Sans, allowing Luffy's transformation instinct to be more independent. Imu also creates a magic circle and places it under the giant's feet. He transforms them into demons by making a contract, flipping them like chess pieces on a reversey board. This transformation is similar to Sulong, but is due to a binding contract, not the giant's natural instinct. It comes from a devil fruit. This point shows that not only giants but anyone who falls victim to Imu's devil contract will also be transformed into a demon with long wings, horns, and fangs. Of course, there will be some ways to break Imu's power, such as using 2 extremely powerful abilities to resist. The Cow Law used 2 abilities to cure Doflamingo's women's disease. This method is only for the strong. Very few are strong enough to resist the contract. Recently, Oda announced the bounty for the 2 captains, Dory and Roji, at 1.8 billion berry each. It must be said that this bounty is incredibly impressive, higher than Jin's or any number 2 in the Yonko cruise seen so far. Sun, a Marine Vice Admiral, used Haki to punch the Sugan snake, so it can be inferred that Dory and Roji also have Haki. However, they themselves cannot use Haki to resist Imu's influence. This is truly a revelation to prove that if affected by the devil contract, the ability to resist and escape is extremely low, if not impossible, which makes us think about Gaban's situation. Although he is a pirate legend with immense Haki power, even having Conqueror's Haki in his normal state, we believe Gaban will avoid the influence of Imu's circle and use Haki to resist that influence. We believe so, but there's no guarantee given his current situation, as he has been severely injured by 3 arrows from Gunko directly in his chest and abdomen. This weakened state greatly affects his ability to control his Haki power. If Gaban returns to the battle in the overworld, if he gets caught between 2 demonized giants or is transformed into a demon by Imu's devil contract, he will be powerless to resist, as seen with his arm. His arm can reattach even after being completely shot off, so Gaban's penetrating injuries are not something to worry about too much. Just look at how Saturn regenerated his body after being smashed by Kizaru, or how Kizaru recovered perfectly after having his upper body blown away. This is enough to understand that if Gaban is demonized, he will regenerate his injuries. In return, he will lose a portion of his lifespan, and he is already quite old. I wonder if this old tough guy can endure losing a few more years of his lifespan. If he cannot resist the demonization process, there will be another way to minimize the impact, similar to how Gear 5 was used to attack and injure Saturn, limiting his regeneration time. Here, it's just limiting, not killing Saturn, because even after being cut in half, the Thorn Devil Fruit still maintains its effect. This was also shown in Chapter 1151, and this point shows that as long as the user is defeated, the contract for those who have been demonized will no longer be valid. Chopper helps Gaban because he wants to get that countermeasure method from this legend. It's probably a trick, not hacky, as we passionately discussed before. Because if it were Conqueror's hacky, Chopper asking for a countermeasure would be meaningless, since he doesn't have that type of hacky, right? Let's connect this with the demon virus that Queen created. He injected it into his gun to shoot samurai warriors, turning them into demon ice oni with horns, fangs, and rather scary claws. As for Marco's blue flames, the virus transformation process was suppressed enough to understand that the invincible regeneration is currently being revealed by Oda as a way to nullify. Sooner or later, Gaban will share this with Chopper and those in the underworld when they return to the overworld. A new giant pirate crew led by Hoden will take advantage of this point to suppress the regenerating demons. In chapter 1150, Imu acknowledged that he exchanged a certain portion of people's lifespan for an immoral body, meaning that demons like Dory and Roji, after making the contract, also become immortal with the same regeneration ability as the Gorosei or the Holy Knights. So that's what I want you to pay attention to. If the continuous regeneration ability cannot be limited, the result is already very clear. Gaban's revelation about suppressing regeneration will play an extremely important role in the near future. We're talking about the ability to control their invincible regeneration, not about completely dissolving the devil contracts, folks. If it's a secret technique, I believe no one else can do it except Luffy with his drums of liberation from Nika. Oda has indeed warned that Luffy and the Giants will become enemies when they move to Elbaf. In chapter 1124, Luffy said, "I don't care if you support me or oppose me, because I will definitely become the Pirate King." Now, that has officially happened. They have become each other's enemies. The demon transformation process is as follows. Imu uses his hand to create a magic circle and then throws it towards Rogi. The circle is large enough to be under his feet. It quickly turns into a fiery pit for Roji to sink into. Imu then flips his hand and chants, Domi Reversi. The circle will be like a chess piece flipping from white to black, turning Roji upside down. From the black chessboard, a devil will be created with oozing, soul-like eyes, large fangs, long horns, and long wings. And notably, Roji has extraordinary power. Even his severed arm reattaches with an invisible joint. His size is 3 or 4 times larger than before. Their minds also change, no longer having their usual civility and politeness, but becoming evil and wicked like demon. Author Oda uses the game of Reversi for Imu's devil contracts, which has 2 sides, white and black. Black represents Imu, taking the pitch black demon, along with the ability to manipulate others' minds and incite evil actions, a kind of binding through a contract. Notably, we also see that Blackbeard is black, and it's very likely a crazy revelation that Blackbeard is the final boss of this story. White represents Luffy, the warrior of liberation, with his ridiculous freedom power and the lively rhythm of the drums of liberation. Bringing laughter, Oda uses the game of shogi to represent the number of combatants on both sides. White represents Luffy and his allies, who are fewer in number but can still break the pincer formation from the black chess pieces representing Kaido's lance. This time, it's a white and black battle in the Reversi game. Imu flips the giants to turn them into demons, so Luffy will discover the power to liberate the inner demon of each person, bringing them back to themselves as a pure warrior. Gaban has been in Elbaf for over 20 years. He seems very knowledgeable about the history of this land. For example, the ancient paintings carved on the Atom Tree, the truths told in ancient scriptures and statues. Gaban also knows many other issues related to the incidents of King Heron and Prince Loki that have not been revealed yet because they only happened 14 years ago. The fact that he went to Ooze Castle and knew where the difficult-to-open sea stone chains were already shows his importance. Don't forget that Gaban is a member of Roger's pirate crew. He once reached the final island and knows the entire history of the world. The appearance of the warrior of liberation, Nika, is what Gaban has been waiting for. With Captain Roger's trust, if Gaban cannot continue fighting due to injuries or being demonized by Imu, his responsibility is to reveal important things and provide valuable information for the Yonko Luffy to overturn the chessboard. Now, try to imagine the worst-case scenario. Gaban is unintentionally caught between them and demonized by Imu's contract, or let's assume Imu intentionally makes the contract. What will happen? Gaban is a great pirate. He has much greater power than even Dory and Rogi. His combat ability and experience would make Gaban a very formidable demon if that happens. With wings, Gaban would certainly be able to fly too. The external control would turn Gaban into an inhumane demon. He would defeat many giants with his sharp axe. And as I said, the injuries caused by Gunko before would regenerate thanks to his immortality. Don't think that he can't fight because he's injured, folks. But there's one thing that makes me hesitate. If he's demonized and his mind is no longer his own, can Gaban use Conqueror's Haki to fight? If so, he would definitely be an extremely terrifying threat to both Yonko Luffy and Prince Loki, not just playing around for fun. It seems that the contract Imu made for the Giants in Elbaf is different from the contract for the Gorosei and the Holy Knights. They still have their own reason and thoughts, while the Giants have a wildly aggressive change in appearance. Imu's Devil Fruit is truly too difficult to fully comprehend its power at this moment. Let's wait for more new revelations from author Oda, folks. What do you all think about the theory of Gaban being demonized in Elbaf? And that concludes our deep dive into the latest One Piece theories. If you found this analysis insightful and want to stay ahead with all things One Piece, make sure to follow and like our channel, Otaku Wave Hub. We bring you exciting theories, detailed breakdowns, and fresh perspectives on your favorite anime and manga every week. Don't miss out on any future video. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join our community of passionate fans. Your support helps us bring more awesome content your way. See you in the next video.